The fascination with the royal family is something that continues with each new wedding, birth, marriage, and everything in between.
The new book, The Secret Royals, explores the relationship between the royal family and the people whose job it is to protect them. From the reign of Queen Victoria to the death of Princess Diana, Richard Aldrich and Rory Cormack are co-authors of the book and worked as former bodyguards for the royal family. They join us now live. Do we have that right? Were you both bodyguards, or was it just you, Rory?
I wish that was a claim to fame. If I look like a bodyguard, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
We have secret roles, but if we told you, they'd have to kill us. So we're sworn to silence, I'm afraid.
I think I'm confused. So you guys weren't bodyguards? Neither of you?
We're historians. We're historians of espionage, and essentially, our book is the royal family seen through the eyes of James Bond, seen through the eyes of 007.
So does the royal family need intelligence, or is that something that evolved over time?
The royals need intelligence to keep them safe. Ever since Queen Victoria, there were 9 or so assassination attempts on her alone, so they need this intelligence. But what really struck us when we were writing the book was how much secret material the royal family know. The Queen Elizabeth, is a library of state secrets. We reckon the Queen knows more state secrets than anybody who has ever walked on this earth, because she gets the top secret intelligence, and she's been getting it for 60 odd years.
Does she keep it to herself, or does she give that to the proper channels?
A bit of both. She's remarkably discreet, so prime ministers are quite happy to unburden themselves. But the royals are also very secretive themselves, so it's difficult to know exactly what they do with this stuff.
So, Richard, tell us some things that you learned through the course of writing this book that the average person might not know about the royals, because we feel like we know everything.
Sure. So, one of the things we find fascinating is just how dangerous the life of the royal family is, how many attempts there are to assassinate them, how many attempts there are to kidnap them. Some of them very dangerous. So Prince Charles will be a good example. In the 1960s, he was invested in Wales, and the nationalists were planning to blow him up with suicide dogs, with kamikaze dogs. But the episode I love most of all, as a student at Cambridge in 1969, feminists from a neighboring university, girl students, were planning to kidnap him. And this, I think, is one kidnap which he kind of wished had gone ahead. He kind of wished that his security had failed at this point. The idea of being kidnapped by 20 excitable female students, I think, kind of appealed to him.
But despite the security threat, Princess Di was able to evade her security detail. That doesn't say much for the bodyguards. How do you explain that happening?
Well, Princess Diana was increasingly anxious about her security and was actually pretty good at giving her security the slip, which initially was kind of amusing, but by 1993, she was deliberately stepping away from her security. So this actually had a serious result. We think really by 1997, those terrible events in Paris wouldn't have happened if she'd been protected by professional government bodyguards.
How is it different now with Prince Harry leaving to go over to the United States? We heard he wanted security detail. I don't know if he has it. How has the whole thing changed now?
Well, essentially, what we have with Harry is a third generation of the royal family leaving. So in the 1920s, we had the Duke of Windsor and Wallace. Then we have Princess Diana leaving in the 90s. Now we have Harry. This is 3 generations of people leaving the royal family. And the key issue is always security. What do you do about the security of an ex-royal? Because essentially, they take their security threats with them. They're always facing hazards.
And Rory, is the United States any different when things move here? Have you had issues here? Is this a different ballgame?
Interestingly, the Queen takes a very different approach to US Secret Service. And the US Secret Service were quite shocked when they learned that nobody tackles the Queen. If there's an assassination attempt on one of your presidents, Secret Service can bundle him out the way. When it comes to the Queen, they can only advise that she does.
Wow.
Well, that's a little too, I mean, that's not really going to help, is it? Am I missing something? I just want to tell you, right?
Yeah, and that's it. Would you mind, ma'am? Would you mind terribly coming this way? There's a big, scary man with a gun coming towards us. And because it's a dilemma she's always faced. She needs to be publicly visible and accessible to have legitimacy as the Queen. She can't hide away in a tower, and that makes intelligence so vital.
Well, Richard and Rory, we appreciate you joining us this morning. The information is on your screen. If you want to check out, follow them on Twitter. And there's the book, The Secret Royals.
Pleasure talking to you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day, everybody.